Hey everyone, Shark here. A little while ago, we had a subathon to celebrate getting partner on Twitch. It was over a 16-hour stream, complete with a bunch of challenges and fun goals. And thanks to all of you wonderful viewers, we were able to hit our goal of over 200 subs. It was truly an amazing experience, and I'm really thankful for all of you. The stream was so hype, and I wouldn't have made it this far without you. But just in case you didn't see it, here's a video of one of the activities we did. It's a Genshin roommate tier list where we evaluate who would be the best and worst roommates in Genshin Impact. Sit back, enjoy, and let me know who you think would be the best roommate and who would make the worst roommate of all. We're gonna do the Genshin roommate tier list. This will be the Genshin roommate tier list. For this challenge, we're going to rank all the characters in the game, including Kirara, which we know nothing about, and see who will be the greatest of the roommates. So who will make the greatest roommates of all? First of all, we've got Traveler. I feel like they would probably be pretty solid. They don't talk a lot, so unless you really need someone to talk to a lot as your roommate, they'd be pretty quiet. I think they're easily like an A or S tier. They can also change their elements. That might come in handy with, and they're also not above doing things like sweeping up dirt and other things as part of their commissions. I think Traveler would be S tier. We've got Albedo next. What skills does Albedo have? He's an alchemist. He does weird experiments. He seems like personality-wise, he'd be very chill, very calm, but his experiments might accidentally blow up your house. I feel like with the potential dangers of the experiments, but also the general niceness of Albedo, would keep him from S tier, but maybe into A tier. B, you're thinking B? Yeah, somewhere in like A, B tier, depending on how difficult he is. We'll put him in B for now. Amber? Outrider Amber. So she likes to sew. She's very active outside, and she's very friendly. She could also bring Eula over at times. I think Amber would be pretty good too. Amber, I think you'd make a great roommate. The only thing that I would be worried about is the explosive powder you need to add to your Baron bunnies in order to keep them fully stocked and ready to be exploded on all the hilly churls. If that's our only concern, you can get your dynamite and assemble the Baron bunnies offsite, and then you can make an easy S tier roommate. Ayaka, Mrs. Wet Socks herself. I feel like Ayaka is probably more used to being waited on than being a roommate. I don't think she'd be a particularly bad roommate, but I don't think she would also know how to do some sort of roomy responsibility type things. So I think Ayaka would be like A or B, somewhere around there. What do you all think? A, B, C, D? She's extra. That's because she's my C, A? We'll put her in B for now. That seems to be about an average. I don't think she'd be the worst roommate. I don't think she'd be particularly bad or particularly good. So I think B tier, middle of the road, is pretty solid. Barbara, the idle nun. I feel like while Barbara herself wouldn't be very annoying, I feel like her fan base, all of like the Church of Mondstadt and everything that would need to be around her would be annoying. So I don't think I would put Barbara super high. Barbara cooks good. That is her special talent, right? When she's cooking, she can make extra. So if her talent is whenever she cooks something, if she has a 12% chance to make an extra delicious thing for us, that could raise her pretty high as well. This is interesting. So while she might be fairly annoying, I do like the extra food potential of Barbara. I think she's pretty solid in B though. We'll put her in B. Now we've got Beidou, the captain of the Crux fleet and the Alcor. How would she be as a roommate? I feel like she would be very drunk and belligerent a lot. While it would be really nice to have Beidou, I feel like the amount of things you would have to deal with would be pretty ridiculous, and after a certain point you'd be like, oh, my loud, obnoxious pirate roommate is seizing some more treasure. And then there's also the possible legal implications of like your home getting raided because Beidou has like a bunch of contraband. I think she's gonna be C tier. Too many things you'd have to worry about in a roommate. Bennett, Easily best boy. However, super unlucky. So if he was your roommate, I feel like Bennett would cause your house to get struck by lightning and then burn down in a fire that he probably accidentally started while trying to put out some other type of disaster. So basically, because of the luck form, I don't know if Bennett could be a super high tier roommate. However, he is a really, really good boy, so I think his luck would hold him back, but he would be a very good roommate himself. Chongyun. Let's see, he exercises evil spirits. He's got his pure yang spirit. I don't know how that would translate to being a roommate. What would a pure yang spirit be like as a roommate? He seems pretty chill. Haha, get it? I didn't even think about that when I said it, but it came out of my mouth and I was like, I heard this. He does seem like a pretty chill roommate though, and it seems like as long as he has his supply of popsicles, he'll be fine. He keeps evil away, eh? True. He could exorcise the house from any demons. So maybe if Bennett and Chongyun were together, we could have a really nice roommate combo where Bennett could be nice Benny boy and then Chongyun could exercise. Excise is to cut away. Exorcise is to remove evil spirits. You could exorcise all the evil bad luck spirits of Bennett. I don't know if Bennett's bad luck is just like a curse or if it's actually like evil spirits, but yeah. Next we've got Diluc. Diluc, yeah, you're not a good roommate. You'd be like the worst roommate ever. You'd be so annoying, so sassy. You're very rich, and you'd be constantly wondering why you're a roommate to begin with. You're like, why do I have my own roommate? Everything that would come up, you would just be argumentative. Alright, Diona. Diona bartender. I don't feel like Diona would be a very good roommate. Constantly trying to sabotage Diluc and like a wine industry vendetta. I think Diona would be D tier as roommate. Fischl would just talk nonsense all the time. Then you'd have Oz. I feel like she would pretend her way out of trying to do things, so I don't think she'd be very high up there either. I would say Fischl would probably go down in D as well. I don't think she'd be the best roommate. Ganyu. Let's see. Ganyu works all the time. She's just a very hard worker. She's very conscientious, so I think she would make a very good roommate as well. Very quiet, very thoughtful. I think Ganyu is easy S tier. Hu Tao. Hu Tao would constantly be trying to kill everyone and turn them into ghosts to fund her funeral parlor business. I think Hu Tao belongs in D tier. Jean as a roommate. Let's see. Also works very hard, very conscientious. I feel like Jean would just come home, crash, and then wake up and go back to her office. I don't think she'd be doing much. So if you wanted a lot of interaction from your roommate, wouldn't be Jean. But in terms of just being probably very responsible, very, very high. Animo Ganyu, basically. Like Animo Ganyu. Also, I believe Jean has the cooking ability, so if she does cook, she can potentially make an extra meal, which means extra food, so I think that would land you in S tier. Kaeya. Where would Kaeya be as a roommate? I don't think I'd rank him very high. I would definitely not rank Kaeya S tier. He would just be, hey, I'm too cool. I'm such a cool guy. Oh yeah. I don't think he'd be very high. I don't see him being very good nor very bad. He'd probably do something really sus. I'm gonna put him in B. He seems middle of the road to me. Keqing. Keqing would be an interesting roommate. She also works very hard. And she would definitely have like a sign on her door that says, Keqing's room, stay out, with like a frowny face. Because she would have her secret collection of Morax and Zhongli figurines there. And she doesn't want anyone to see her Geo Archon shrine. So, other than that, I think she'd be an okay roommate. Is she as good as someone like Chongyun? Probably not. We'll put her in B. Klee! Easy D. Klee would explode everything. You could not contain Klee. Everything would explode. Is there an F tier? There needs to be a special tier just for Klee. Fire hazard. Everything. If you enjoy not being on fire or exploded, Klee is absolutely the worst roommate for you. She's also, even though she's an elf and much older, she is mentally a child. So you would have to like take care of a child too. So no, Klee belongs in her own tier. Lisa, we've got a librarian who would tease you to no ends and sip some tea. I think other than that, she'd be pretty good. I think Lisa would make a nice roommate. S tier. I don't know if I could handle the Lisa teases, but it sure would be fun. C tier total tease. Cuties. Hi, cuties. And then we've got other traveler. We'll put them in S as well. Mona. Ooh. Mona, you're D tier. You have so bad with all of your finances. You would never be able to make any rent. We'd be constantly covering for you. Worst roommate ever. Because she won't pay rent. Exactly. Ninguang. You're saying S tier? I don't know about S tier for Ninguang. To me, she seems like, because even though she had her big start, she seems almost like Diluc in that she's weighted on hand and foot. I don't know if she would enjoy having a roommate. I don't see her going particularly high. She's rich! If she's super rich, then why is she having a roommate situation with us? I mean, maybe. Here's what I think Ninguang is like, and tell me if you all can see this or not. She seems like a very wealthy, like, heiress or socialite, and so if you have to room with her, it'd be like rooming with someone who lives in, like, Manhattan, and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna go do this, and we're gonna go do that, and like, oh, well, I don't think I'm gonna go do that. I don't think I want to go shopping for super expensive shoes or handbags or go to these really swanky things. Like, maybe every once in a while it'd be nice, but all the time, I don't know if I would like that so much. She pays your rent and makes you. Do you think she's going to be the one paying for rent for us? I don't know about that. She might make my house levitate and make it a nuclear bomb. That's true. She could just launch your house at a giant sea monster, and that would be a terrible roommate thing to do. You come home and there's nothing but dirt where your home used to be, and then there's Ninguang sitting on like a really fancy table sipping tea. You're like, Ninguang, what happened? You're like, oh, Xiao came. I had to launch your house at them. Don't worry. You can just buy another one. Like, So for that reason, I don't know if I can rank her super high. I think it'd be really interesting. I'm going to rank her A, though. I don't think she deserves S. I think those situations would be very few and far between. And being as someone who has come up from selling fish on the seashores of Liyue to being the most wealthy and influential person in Liyue, it would be an easy high rank, but not necessarily S rank. Noelle, easy S. She's basically Ganyu and Jean, but also a maid. And would not only clean everything, but also be like, would you like some tea? I'll brew you some. How do you take it? Do you like it with sugar? 1 lump or 2? Like, thank you, Noelle. So thoughtful. Easy S tier. Only downsides about Noelle is that she might overwork herself. And you have to be like, Noelle, it's okay. You can relax. Let's relax. Let's relax. Qiqi? Qiqi is a roommate. Qiqi would be like... This will sound weird. Qiqi would be less like a roommate and more like a pet. I don't know what you'd need to do. Like, do zombies sleep? Do zombies need anything? Do they need to eat? Like, I guess Qiqi would have coca goat milk just because she likes the taste, but does she actually need to eat to live? It would be like having a pet that you're like, okay, Qiqi, here's some food, eat it when you want. She'd be like, okay. Like, all right, Qiqi, I'm leaving. She's like, okay. Qiqi, do you need anything? No, I'm going to my job at the pharmacy now. Okay, Qiqi. So she'd be very, very relaxed. I think she'd be pretty good. Qiqi is the guard dog, so she doesn't need a lot to like live, which is kind of neat. She also has incredible amounts of healing, so if you get hurt, I'm like, oh no, Qiqi, I tripped and I broke my arm, please. She's like, opening box of Adepti trips. Boop. There you go. So I think Qiqi is an A tier. Razor, D tier. No way Razor would make a good roommate. He's basically a dog, except he's larger, and he can just ruin everything. And he's got his Razor Electro Spirit dog. I don't know if he's house trained. I'm pretty sure he just lives randomly in the woods. So he would make a bad roommate for sure. He could be, you know what he could be? Razor can be the outdoor roommate. He can live outdoors. We can build him a nice little wooden shack, and that's all he needs. Have like a wooden shack and some hay. He'll be in heaven. That's all he needs. Razor's a good boy. Razor is a good boy. But do you want Razor jumping up on your bed in the middle of the night and sleeping at your feet? I would not like that. Razor needs his own little... If Razor had a dog bed, great. Also think about it this way. If you had to like rent a place and Razor was your roommate, is he going to be paying rent or is he just going to be sleeping on like a dog bed? Then you'd be like, oh, well this apartment doesn't allow pets. And be like, oh, I just have my Razor. You're what? Like, this guy, he's my roommate. He's like, I think that's a dog. So it'd be harder to rent places with Razor just because him being Razor things. He pays rent in cuteness. Yeah, Razor staying in D. Sucrose is C. I would agree with you there, Dip. She's basically Albedo but worse because her experiments blow up in her face more often. Pretty nice, pretty conscientious. She'd just stick to her own studies. She'd be like someone who's studying really hard all the time. Like someone in, let's say, med school or going to like law school or something like that, where they would just go and they'd just be studying all the time. The only thing is her experiments might blow up. That stems up from making her higher tiers as potential experiments are like Albedo's, but not as big, because she mostly seems to be dealing with like plants and fruit and stuff. But they do tend to blow up in her face. Tartaglia. I don't think Tartaglia would be that great of a roommate. He seems like he's very good at being just a family person in general, but Tartaglia would definitely be trying to fight everyone all the time. He would go out to the neighbors and be like, hey neighbors, nice to meet you. You want to fight? Here's my water swords. He pays rent in infinite money. True. I feel like Tartaglia's Ninguang situation could easily pay for many things, but might be problematic with his general personality. Put Childe and Klee there. Childe is literally a criminal. True. Living with a criminal. Now, he's a very wealthy criminal, though. And if I know things about wealthy criminals that usually exist, if you're a really wealthy criminal, usually you can get away with a lot of things. So, he'll be, it'd probably be okay. He's a smooth criminal. Dun dun da da dun dun. Venti, D tier. Would be drunk all the time. Would never pay for anything. Be like, Venti, we gotta clean this up, and then also your rent's gonna be due. He's gonna be like, how about I pay with music? I'm like, I don't think the landlord accepts music, Venti. Now, Xiangling, easy S tier for me. Seems very agreeable. She's got her own chef skills. She just loves cooking all the time. And not only does she love cooking, she loves experimenting in cooking. So you would constantly be getting new delicious food. She's like, I added this, and look what we got. This is our delicious new dish. And be like, yeah, this is good. This is really good. I love this. And we have cute Goba. Huh. Whoa. Trouble fight. Yeah, the only thing is Goba might accidentally set the house on fire, but Xiangling seems to keep Goba in check pretty well. I don't think we have the house on fire, like, between Bennett accidentally setting your house on fire and Xiangling. I think we're way safer with Xiangling. Xiao would be the most annoying roommate ever. He'd be super emo. He would be just angry and in, like, the worst mood all the time. Talking to him would be such a drain. Not a good roommate, Xiao. Sorry. Xingqiu. I think Xingqiu would be in A, potentially S tier. Just wants to read books. Just wants to, like, also comes from, like, a good family. He'd be, like, a pretty good roommate overall. I think what keeps him from S tier for me is just he might talk too much about chivalry and other things and be like, hey man, you're kind of annoying. Can you stop with that? Chivalry will never die. It will if you keep talking about it like that. You're gonna make everyone be like, ooh, chivalry, gross. Otherwise, Xingqiu, pretty chill. Xinyan? Xinyan. So, despite Xinyan's, like outward appearance of her trying to be like gruff rock and roll or whatever, her personality, at least like profile-wise, is really, really nice, and it's very wholesome. She likes to like make dolls and stuff for kids and all this other stuff. So I think she is pretty high tier. However, because she is a musician and she plays rock music in particular, if she was like a singer or if she could do something like that. I live with my roommate is a professional musician, and so most of what he does is singing, and so I can hear him practicing throughout the house and doesn't bother me at all. But if we had Xinyan practicing electric guitar for all of her songs, she could not be very high. So even though she's really chill, because of potential music disturbances, she would have to be B tier. She could use headphones. True, I guess you could use headphones, but I'm going to say B tier because she wants to rock hard and she wants to rock loud. Zhongli. I love you, Zhongli. You never pay for anything. You're going in D tier. Sorry about that, buddy. Pay your own things, and then maybe we could talk. If you literally just made money, then yeah. But you stopped making money. You now make no more Mora, and you never pay for anything. D tier. I would love for you to regale me with stories of old. But I would love more if you paid your share of the rent. Rosaria. I feel like Rosaria is almost like Lisa, except she would probably kill you randomly in the night. So, too much of like assassin. I don't know if I'm super comfortable vibes with her. We'll put Rosaria in C tier. She's okay, but I would feel very, very anxious around her, living around her all the time. Eula. I will have vengeance. Where are we putting this character who people say exists, but other people say no, she's just a myth? Vengeance all over. I don't particularly think of her very high or very low. D? You think she's D? S? B at least? D? I think she would be annoying in terms of like if you ever had to talk to her. She's like, I will have vengeance. I think she'd be too annoying as a roommate. I'll put her in C tier. Yanfei. We've got a legal attorney as your roommate. I think as long as you got along well with Yanfei, it would be really great. But if you didn't get along well with her at all, she would use her knowledge of the law to make your life absolutely miserable. So, provided you can walk that line, great or not very good at all. So she could be great or also terrible. So I think B tier because of the variability. Let's see, Kazuha. I think Kazuha would make a great roommate. Very calm, very chill, comes from a good family, wants to be a wanderer, may not make the best roommate because he may just like skip out on a lot of things and just you never see him again. He seems very responsible, and I think as long as he's responsible, then I think he'd be a pretty good roommate. Also a criminal, true. Yoimiya, easy S. The only thing that would keep Yoimiya from being potential S tier is the fact that she is a fireworks maker. As long as she did not bring her work home with her and didn't make her fireworks at home and risk exploding everything or just, being a very loud nuisance. Super fun, very cheerful, great roomie. She would definitely be the type of person where if you were shy at like a party, you would go to a party with her and she would introduce you to everyone and talk about how great you were. So, great roommate, great friend. Sayu. Sayu would just sleep all the time. I think she'd be super chill. Either A or B for Sayu. That's all she would do is just sleep. Looks like we have a second Kazuha. We'll put second Kazuha up there. Sayu is cute, S tier. Sayu would eat your food. Would she? Oh, she might eat it to try and grow. You're right. We'll put her in B. Raiden, ugh. I think Raiden's probably D tier. You notice how so far all of the Archons are in D tier? They're all horrible roommates so far. Venti, Zhongli, Raiden, terrible roommates. Raiden can't cook. She would have to order food all the time, or we would have to be forced to cook for her. And considering her upbringing, we would probably be forced to cook for her as well, at the threat of death, and having everything we know and love be cut in half with the gigantic laser lightning sword that she used to be like, I cut this land in half, right? Maybe you should cook for me. Like, oh god, not again, Raiden. So, yeah, don't think you're going to make a good roommate. Kujou Sara. I feel like Kujou Sara is in the Eula Rosaria tier. She's going to do her own thing, and trying to reason with her doesn't seem like it's going to work. She seems very, very stubborn. So, if anything comes up and you're like, oh, we got to do this, she's like, no. Be like, but we have to. Not my problem. Like, oh, okay, Kujou Sara. Seems like she'd be in C tier for me. Kokomi. Let's see. Coco Fish. She would be on the higher side for sure for me. Where would she be? Would she be an S or would she be an A, though? Let's see. Well, she is kind of leading an illegal war, but that's over now. That could be very, very dangerous, or at least it would have been, but at least that's over. And she's also someone who works super hard. She's supposed to be she seems very responsible, but at the same time, she kind of also sacrifices her soldiers a lot. She was kind of known as like, yes, they are pawns in our game. So I don't know. I'm going to put her in A tier because I think there's some sussy things going on under those beautiful fishy-like eyes. She is a fish too. She could be my roommate because she is a fish. Shark and fish. All right, let's see. Aloy. Aloy just likes to hunt things. I don't think she'd be particularly good or bad either way. D. This isn't the normal tier list. I think, I don't want to rank her high. I would not rank her higher than B, but I don't think she deserves D tier. Aloy is a big A, no. I'm going to put her in B. I don't have really strong feelings either way. She'll cure your tofu. Oh, also tofu gone. Well, if she will hunt tofu, then easy D tier. But I don't think she would hunt tofu. Not tofu, don't. I don't think she'll hunt tofu. I think she'll be cool with cats. Do you think if Razor and Aloy were living in the same house, Razor would hunt, or Aloy would hunt Razor? If Aloy and Razor were living together in the same roof, in the same circumstance, do you think she would just hunt him? I don't know. Hunts robots, yeah. Tofu's not a robot. He's a soft boy. Toma, easy S tier. Probably one of the S-est of S tiers in this whole tier list. Super easy S tier. Male wife. Cooks, cleans, takes care of everything. Also, kind of like a fixer, so if you have any problems, he would definitely have some solution to deal with it. He cooks, he cleans, he's responsible. Fun guy overall, easy S tier roommate. And he's a walking coupon, basically. Itto, the D-est of tiers. He's like Klee level. Not only is he super irresponsible, never has any money, would never pay rent, he has a gang. His gang would be lounging around the house all the time too. It'd be like if you had Itto as your roommate. If you're like, okay, let's be roommates, Itto, you're fun. Sure, why not? As soon as Itto comes over, immediately all of his gang is just going to live there forever. You would need to like do everything through Kuki via proxy. And you'd be like, Kuki, you need to like get these other guys out. You're cool. Just like get them out. They're here too much. Too much. Goro is a good boy. Unlike Razor, who I feel like would be perfectly comfortable in like a doghouse, I feel like Goro would be much more of an indoor dog. And because he is good boy, I think he deserves A tier. With Kokomi. Shenhe. Shenhe doesn't really know about being a roommate. She likes to eat grass. And she has to wear special ropes so she does not accidentally kill people. Unfortunately, Shenhe, D tier. You can live in the mountains, eat your grass. But the fact that you might actually murder us in our sleep because you forgot to wear your special rope, that doesn't fly very well. Yunjin. Yunjin, I think, would be A. I think she is like very similar to Xinyan, very sweet, very nice, but because she's an opera singer, she would have to practice her music, and we could listen to her beautiful opera. And if we could, she would seem like the type of person where we could work things out. Like, if you need to practice, fine. But just don't do it late at night when I'm sleeping. And she'd be like, yeah, that's fine. Ooh, Yae Miko. I feel like, I was contemplating putting Yae Miko in D, but she cooks for Yae. Or she cooks for Raiden. So Yae cooks for Raiden, makes like everything for her. But that's only because she and Raiden go way back. I don't think she would extend that same courtesy to us. So while she would take care of people she really likes, she would just tease us all the time. It'd be super annoying. I think she belongs in D tier. Ayato. Ayato. Where would he be? Ayato, pretty high. I think Ayato would be A. I think what holds him off from being S is I think he would be too busy, like Ayaka. Like, I think Ayato would be A. Similar to Ayaka, I think he'd be too used to having people serve him. But other than that, I think he'd probably be pretty fine. As long as you could work that thing out. Either like A or B. Yulan. Where would Yulan be? If he's not you're throwing hands. S, S, S? Double S? What is your reasoning for S tier as Yulan? Chad has decided. S, 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 plus, 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 plus. Double S. Because she's mommy. Because I am straight for her. Yulan's pretty decent. So, personality-wise, even though she's, like, in the trailers, they make her seem very harsh. She's very, like, no-nonsense when it comes to her work. But outside of that, she seems pretty chill. I would compare Yulan to, like, maybe an active duty military person or something like that. Like, at their job, they're very, very serious, but, like, outside that, they're a little more relaxed. So I think she'd be pretty decent on that end. I probably would not rate her S myself, but as chat really, really, really wants her S, I'll let you have Yulan at S. We can do that. Secretly a big softie. Yeah. Kuki. Let's see. Kuki is way more responsible than Itto, but because Itto and all of the gang are her baggage, I think she can't advance higher than, like, B. I think she'd be a great roommate, but B is, like, maybe generous for her. But she definitely can't advance, like, higher than that. Heizou. Let's see, we've got a detective. I don't think Heizou is really... I don't have strong feelings for him either way. Like, either super high or super low. He seems pretty middle of the road. Like, someone you just probably get along with well. He seems responsible enough. I think he'd be, like, pretty easy B or A. D? D? S? Triple S? What is your justification for your Heizou rankings? We can find the person who did it. I think Heizou's gonna be like... I think Heizou's like perfectly like middle of the road. Nothing really bad. A at least. Reasonable and quiet. I can see A. A, B seems about where I would be. Tanari. Well, old Tanari with the whole VA thing. That's easy like F minus 1,000 tier. New Tanari though. New Tanari is probably pretty good. He's smart, he nice. I think New Tanari would be A. I don't feel super confident in giving like that Tanari S tier, but I think A tier Tanari would be pretty good. So New Tanari A tier, old Tanari super negative F tier. Nice, smart, not quite as sassy, which is good for me. I don't really enjoy sass. And just nice, responsible guy doing responsible ranger things. Klee, so maybe this is a little revealing about me, but I would rank Klee super high because I would find it very, very endearing that even though she has trouble reading or trouble writing and other things, she would try very, very hard. I find her extremely endearing, so that is definitely a like my own personal proclivity, but I would rank her fairly high, but I don't think she deserves S tier. You think she's S? You think she's S? She also is very, very similar to Amber, and so they would get along very well. So if you're all fine with S tier she goes. Posture check. And while we do this, I think I might open one of these snacks here soon. D for Dory. D for Dory. Dory, what would Dory be? She's an illegal merchant, like an illegal forbidden knowledge and other random things. She peddles a lot of contraband. I think Dory belongs in D tier. And she's also, because she is also all about that Mora, she'd probably be super stingy. Be like, hey, we got like this extra electric bill or whatever is way higher. We need to like split this. She's like, no. Sweetest answer to ever do it. Nilu, I think Nilu would be very high too. Dory's going to scam us. She would probably try to scam us. Definitely in the S tier. I think Nilu would be very high too. Very thoughtful, very sweet. We get free tickets to shows because she could definitely get us the tickets. And I personally like creative people, so I'm fine with her as S tier. Sino. Ooh. Sino is at the very highest C tier for me. I think he would be D tier. He would be scowling and angry, and even when he's trying to tell his jokes, I'd be like, is that an actual joke? Why do I still feel threatened even though you're telling me a dumb little dad joke? So I think at the very least, also be way too, I don't know, I think he'd be way too serious and too rigid. So I'm going to put him in D. Let's see. Sino. Candace. Okay. Candace. I think Candace would be on the higher end for sure. She's very like Mother Goose energy. Very protective, very nice. If you were living in an area, or if you were living where you had like several pets or whatnot, she would be great as like a dog or a cat mom. So I think she belongs in at least A tier. So I'm going to put her in A tier. Candace A tier. S because she's pretty. Nahida, God of Wisdom. Here's one thing. I also really like Nahida. Consider this though. Nahida can read your mind. Do you really want to live with someone who can read your mind at will? I don't think I do. Police are coming after Nahida S tier rates. I don't think I would want to live with someone who could read my mind. That's literally the only thing that I think holds her back. Everything about her is also very nice. So I'm going to put Nahida in A. She seems very responsible, very caring, very conscientious, but she could not only read your mind, she could like impart her consciousness into you and just take over your body. Is she going to do that? Probably not, but she's done it to random people in the story, so that's pretty sus for me. Layla. I mean, Layla would just sleep all the time. Layla would be like almost like having a cat, like a house cat. She'd just sleep and she'd do her research. Also just like having someone study, almost like Sucrose, but better. So she's at least B tier for me, potentially A. I think she's A tier with Chongyun and like these other characters. Yeah, I could see her being A tier. She'd be a pretty A tier roommate, super chill. If you didn't need like your roommates to interact with you a lot, then A tier. I think if you really needed the socialization aspect from living with other people, then B tier. But I'd say A tier. Skara, D tier. Awful roommate. He would just be so snarky. Everything he do would be a fight. I'd be like, hey Skara, how's it going? It's going terrible. You want to fight? And he'd just tackle you to the ground. It'd just be the worst. He would find every excuse to just make as much conflict and drama as possible. So easy D tier there. Let's see. Faruzan. I think she would be... I can't see Faruzan being too much higher than B. I feel like she's just kind of middle of the road. I don't see anything that's particularly good about her. Nothing particularly bad, but just very, very middle of the road. Let's see. Skara D tier, just like his mom. Yeah, exactly. Yao. Yao ranks very high for me. Yao's annoying D tier, really, no. I think Yao would be like A or S. She is very in touch with like the community. She's very sweet, and she loves like plants and helping people. I think she's easy like A, potentially S. Does she rise to the same level as like Ganyu, Amber, Noelle? For me, I think she would. Personally, I would rank her as like S. I think she'd be a great roommate. Alhaitham. Alhaitham as a roommate. Too snarky for me. I would put him as like the Eula, Rosaria, and Kujou Sara level. I would put him in C tier. Alhaitham is C for me. Dea though. What would Dea be like as a roommate? She's a mercenary, but if she likes you, she's very, very protective. So Dea is kind of like a German Shepherd. If she likes you and she enjoys you, she'd be great. If she doesn't like you, things are going to be really, really bad. So it's going to be very like hot and cold. I think I would put Dea in A tier. Could be really, really nice, but could potentially be like a lot of friction too. Mika. I don't have any strong feelings either way for Mika. I think B tier. Oh boy, Kaveh. Kaveh, sorry, you're D tier. You're always poor. Your basic like character premise is that you're so bad with money that you can never afford rent, and that Alhaitham has to cover for you for literally months at a time, even though you earn lots of money in your commissions from building all the beautiful structures throughout Sumeru. So yeah, D tier, sorry. Let's see, we've got Beidou next. Where would Beidou land? Probably pretty high. I think at least A or S. Very responsible, like healer type. We've got Qiqi in A, and let's see, I think Beidou would pull ahead of Qiqi, so I think I would put him in S. Very responsible, seems pretty chill, likes to help others, seems like he'd be very conscientious about himself and the space that he's in as well. The only thing is, he does have Chong, which is his snake, but he does need it for like actual real medical reasons, and it's not just like a pet. So we could get around a lot of the no pets allowed, like, oh well, this is like it's a medically necessary snake. If he doesn't have this, he will die. Be like, really? Be like, yep, here's the card. And finally we've got Kirara. So where will Kirara go? I mean, she's like a cat, so that is automatically some level of destruction. We don't know if she's super chill or if she's super hyper. If she's super hyper, wouldn't really jive with me. I need more chill cats like Tofu. So I think she's probably going to be a B. Could be really good, could be really not good. And there we go. There's our Genshin roommate tier list of who we think would be the best and worst roommates in Genshin Impact.